story now. Greenpeace is calling for Minister Pravin Gordhan to cancel the last 2 units of Kusile and shift investments into renewable energy before it's too late. It's arguing that the cancellation of the power station is the only option. This comes after 5 days of rolling blackouts. I'm joined by Senior Climate and Energy Campaign Manager at Greenpeace Africa, Melita Steele. A very good morning to you, Melita. The only option is to cancel. Why?
So Eskom is currently in a financial meltdown and has been for quite a long time. And to continue throwing money that Eskom does not have into a black hole and then expecting both the South African public and the government to bail out Eskom is actually unacceptable. So Greenpeace has argued that we didn't need Kusile in the first place, but also that there are major risks associated with it, both in terms of water use, pollution, health impacts. But now we're talking about whether Eskom can actually even afford it. And so when you combine all of those things, it simply does not make sense to continue to try and finish a project that was doomed from the beginning and is pushing up the price of electricity as well.
On the issue of affordability, can we afford to get into renewable energy? What are we going to do with all this coal stockpiles that we have?
So when one takes into account the issue of climate change, which is the long-term warming of the Earth's atmosphere, this is probably one of the biggest existential threats that we face. And according to a report released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change last year, we have 12 years to act to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. When we talk about impacts of climate change, we're talking about the kind of heat waves that we're seeing in Australia at the moment, day zero, the water crisis last year, and that is only going to get worse. And so to avoid the worst impacts of climate change, we need an urgent shift away from fossil fuels. And so that means that some of the oil, coal and gas reserves that we have to be left in the ground. So in answer to your question, yes, we can absolutely shift to renewable energy. We have really good renewable resources in South Africa. Renewable energy is also the cheapest source of electricity at the moment and can be delivered on very short time frames.
So the discovery of coal and gas in Mossel Bay tickling a lot of people. Curious to find out Greenpeace's stance on that when you say that we should leave coal and gas in the ground.
So we are basically saying that that is not something that we should be celebrating. You just have to look at the Nigerian example to know that finding oil and gas offshore can actually really backfire, both in terms of environmental impacts, but also in terms of benefiting a few rather than the majority, which is what we're looking for when it comes to economic development. And we believe that new reserves, we shouldn't be exploring for new reserves at all. So we believe that Total is a foreign oil company that has a very bad record, and we do not believe that the risks are being considered adequately. We believe that there are serious risks of an oil spill, risks to marine life, but also that it's highly unlikely that the economic benefits of something like that would actually go to the majority of South Africans.
Have you engaged perhaps with Total, with the relevant stakeholders, with government, and what has that resulted in?
So we are in the process of trying to get the environmental impact assessment documents from Total's process and to actually engage with them. We were also caught a bit by surprise by the announcement. So we're now trying to talk to both the Department of Environmental Affairs and Total. But I think the fact that the government is seeing this as such a big economic win for South Africa is really concerning, because we do not believe that it is, especially taking into account the issue of climate change. We believe that this is really a big threat and is not something that we should be pursuing.
Senior Climate and Energy Campaign Manager at Greenpeace Africa, Melita Steele, thank you very much for your